and I'll be able to show you what I was able to do to streamline a lot of my questions and design plan using some technology. Here we go. Hey, welcome to Exit Honey Homestead. Happy New Year, everyone. It is finally 2024. I honestly can't believe how fast last year went through. I hope everyone had an amazing Christmas and an awesome New Year. So now that it's January, we get to talk about the garden space. We have the opportunity to extend our growing space with some fencing that our neighbor's brother has just graciously offered to give us. The design I want for, hopefully, fingers crossed, the next couple of years. I wanted to go through that process with you today because if you're new to gardening, you really don't know what to do. You're like, I want to grow food. Okay, cool. How are you going to grow that food? And there's a lot of questions that come up with that. You know, are you going to grow food that is going to be eaten immediately, or are you going to can it? Do you even know if your family's going to eat the food that you grow? Or are you going to want to grow enough to share with your neighbors, or maybe even put it as like a little roadside stand? And so I'm planning now to decide on what plants and seeds I would need to get to make sure that I have what I have to have enough by the time it's time to put those in the ground and get them started. It is currently January 7th, Sunday. We had an amazing service at church today and made a list of everything that I wanted to grow this year, and then everything that I wanted to try and grow this year. It's a pretty extensive list, and there are staple things on there like peas, carrots, sugar snaps, loofah. I wanted to restart trying asparagus, kale, arugula, romaine, a couple different types of iceberg lettuce, basil, garlic, onion, chives, stevia, lavender, chamomile, ground cherries, strawberries, watermelon, cantaloupe, goji berry, huckleberry, bush beans, okra, corn, cucumber, squash, pumpkin, tomatoes, cherry and slicers, jalapenos, bell peppers, sweet peppers, radishes, and then a whole bunch of pollinator items like coneflower, sunflower, bachelor button, bee balm, borage, clover, cosmos, zinnias, those are my favorites. Easiest to grow in my opinion. Sweet potato, regular potato, and Brussels sprouts. That's on my I want to grow list. Items is a golden giant amaranth. They're supposed to be really high protein seeds, so you can use them in a way like chia seeds, and they're really colorful. Pollinators like them. Blue spice basil. Blue spice basil is a spicy vanilla flavor basil. I just thought that was interesting. Another one is dragon tongue beans. It's a 60-day bush bean variety, and you can cook them with the hull or without. And I like them. I like pretty things, so I chose those because they are purple and white, striped or striated. Purple's my favorite color. Another one is albino beets. Albino beets apparently are very sweet, and you can make sugar with them. I did not know that. So cabbage. I did not grow any cabbages or broccoli or cauliflower last year. I attempted Brussels sprouts, but that did not work either. This one I cannot pronounce, and I may just have to spell it. But it's called Gomphrena. You can laugh. It's okay to laugh. Gomprena. And it is also called globe amaranth. And that is, they're really pretty. They look like tiny, colorful dandelion seed heads. They're really puffy balled plants. And apparently you can make the teas with them, and it treats a whole slew of ailments. And is blue lace flower. So like Queen Anne's lace is white and kind of tabletop-ish. These are blue. marigolds, and milkweed. So those are everything I'd like to try and everything I would like to grow. Now that we've gone through my wish list, I went through and I talked with Eric and I said, okay, from this list, what would you eat? And I know my children relatively well. Their taste buds change often. So I went ahead and I picked out which ones I think they would eat, which ones they wouldn't eat, and then things that I know I would eat a lot of, so I just left it on the list. And we're able to drop some of those items off, like ground cherries. I'm only going to plant one ground cherry plant this year, and to be honest with you, with the thousands of seeds that are probably in the garden right now, all I have to do is like scoop a cup and go put it somewhere and it'll probably grow in no time. We had so many ground cherries not even make it in the house. They just fell, and then the bugs enjoyed them, and all the seeds are now in the garden and overwintered, and they're probably ready to start sprouting anytime soon. So ground cherries, not a fan by the rest of the family. I love them. Another item that may not get grown a lot of are cucumbers, cherry tomatoes, squash, and pumpkin. So those were all ones where only maybe half the family would be interested in it, and so I'm not gonna really work on growing a lot of that. But they love things like the sweet bell peppers, those little tiny ones. They really like sugar snap peas and things that I can put in their lunch so it's crunchy and sweet and healthy. Kaylee and Ethan like jalapenos now, which I don't like spice, but they have learned how to make jalapeno poppers, and so that's something that I want to grow so they can pull it from the garden and then make it in the house, and then have that pride and that confidence that comes with, oh my gosh, we grew our own food and now I'm serving it to you. While turnips and beets are not a fan favorite in our house, my soon-to-be mother-in-law put turnips in her vegetable soup instead of potatoes because we have a dietary restriction in our family, and I couldn't tell the difference. So I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Are you telling me that turnips are low on the glycemic index and they can taste good in a veggie soup? Sold. So that's immediately went on our list because of that. Sweet potatoes. So we messed up last year and chopped off, cut with the lawnmower, all of our sweet potato plants. And so those are just some of the immediate items that we're gonna reduce, or we're gonna add. And then things like corn and peas and beans, things that can trellis, we're gonna plant a lot of because you need a lot of them to actually have a meal. And we're going to alternate sunflowers with corn so that they create more stability for the corn stalks. And we're gonna grow we might grow peas up them. I haven't decided yet, but I'm very happy that I'm in this position now to make that decision with this new layout that we're trying out. And I'll be able to show you what I was able to do to streamline a lot of my questions and design plan using some technology. Here we go. All right, so this tech is called ChatGPT. It is a free online service that you can create an account for, and you can ask pretty much any type of questions that you want if you're trying to brainstorm for projects or presentations, anything really. And what I did was I put in some questions, and particularly what were good companion plants out of the list that I had created for the plants that our family wanted to eat and enjoy. And then after it gives you a few suggestions, you can just simply say generate more, and it'll give you a whole lot of other companion plant combinations. My next question that I asked was, what are the square spacing for all of the companion plants listed above? And it starts to give out what I would need in space-wise for peas and carrots, garlic and onions, cucumbers and radishes, and the process just continues. The next question that I wanted to ask was, what are the planting times for all of the companion plants listed above for hardiness zone 8A? And while it doesn't give you exact months, you can go find that information online everywhere, but it does say, peas are in early spring, transplant basil and tomatoes outdoors after the last frost. So for 8A, our last frost date is roughly April 15th or 16th. The next one was, I said, considering all the plants listed above in my original post, how much land would I need to plant at least 2 of each variety? And the cool thing about ChatGPT is that it goes through and shows you how to calculate. Also, it tells you things that you need to think about while you're coming up with that. And it gave up there a list of 4 items about identifying and planning and spacing. And so I asked a really big question. I said, please complete item 1 for the following plant varieties, the spacing requirements for each plant variety. And it gave the list out. I like that you can put your customized list in there and say, okay, this is everything I want to plant, and ChatGPT will only focus on those. And then I said, please complete item 2, and it said, okay. Here's the rough estimate for spacing requirements for each planting variety. So it talks about rows, or if I need to hill or row items, and how wide these rows need to be apart from each other. So not only now do I have my seed spacing, but I have my row spacing. I said, please complete item 3. And item 3 refers to, spacing between rows, which looks like it's generally 18 to 36 inches apart, which would be my walkways. And then says, please complete item 4 based on 1 through 3. And this is the planting layout. And it goes through a variety of, basically ties in together items 1, 2, and 3. Then for question 4, I said, what would be the overall area needed? So it assumes that each row is 30 feet long and each hill is 6 feet in diameter. So it goes through and actually, I like how in number 1 it shows you the calculations, and number 2 it plugs things in for hill area. And this might be way too in-depth for you as a gardener, but I wanted to know all these little details. Okay, so I know that was a long 7 minutes, and I apologize. Hopefully you found that really helpful, and I hope you try it. Please comment below if you use ChatGPT for your gardening design, or if you use it for anything else for that matter. I love learning about new technologies and being able to use those technologies not only at home and personal, but in the professional world, especially when I have a field in environmental science, and that technology is always evolving for that type of field. So anyway, as I probably mentioned earlier, in ChatGPT, it was able to show me and tell me how much space I needed for my planting. And it was wild. I was just shocked at how much space I would need if I was going to grow just 2 plants of everything on my list. I needed more square footage than my house actually has. And so Eric and I had a great laugh about that. And so I had to pare some stuff down and reevaluate my life a little bit. And that's it. I mean, there's obviously a lot more that needs to happen before we get into actually putting plants into the ground. But the first step is to make a plan. If you don't have a plan, you're going to fly by the seat of your pants, and it's going to get chaotic when the season is in full swing. It's July and you have weeds everywhere, or you have plants going every which way, or you didn't plan your spacing out right, and it just becomes a jungle. And you've seen on our channel that whether it's TikTok or it's Instagram or it's YouTube, where I have let the garden go to be a jungle, and I have embraced it, because in this season of my life, that's what I needed it to happen. I needed to be able to walk away from it and not. I'm hoping that as we go into 2024, that it's our year, and that the seeds that we have planted pun intended, start to come out of the ground. And it's hard at first because, like everything, when you haven't done it before, it is hard. It's difficult. You're going to learn lessons. I've never owned a house before. I'm learning some lessons. And I've never had a blended family before, and I've never had to go through being a parent any longer than today. You know, I have a teenager and a preteen now, and those parenting struggles are not like parenting toddlers, or, you know, moving away from your family several hours is a whole lot different than your parents being half an hour down the road and they can stop by after work, or that village that you had created when they were younger is not as easily accessible anymore. So now that we're in this new location in North Carolina, we're going into year 2. Sorry, somebody has a very loud vehicle that just drove by, like they're drag racing down the road. I lost my train of thought, but what I'm saying is that I feel like we've gotten some more of our footing. You know, now that Eric's down here, we're moving more into what are we gonna change and move in our family. How are we gonna develop the properties that we have? How are we going to grow our presence here on YouTube? I want you to come out with us when we're feeding the bees, and when I'm just out there picking for, you know, maybe dinner or cutting flowers or whatever. And I want that to be a part of our channel, and I want you guys to engage and ask us questions like, how do you start your garden, or what do you do with honey after you've harvested it? And if you know what you're doing and we're doing something wrong, I would love for you to tell us in the comments. Say, hey, maybe next time try something different, or how about you try this? It may fix your problem. Because I understand that I don't know everything. Eric doesn't know everything. We're not perfect by any means, and I will be the first one to admit that. I want us to identify and move forward. That's really all that I would like to do, is just continue to move forward. That's why I say that our process and our journey is failing forward every day, because we aren't going to be perfect, and we're not trying to be. We're just trying to be real. And some of that may be silly, some of it may be obnoxious. I don't even know. It may just be an eye roll when you watch this video, but the fact that you're watching it just makes me feel better. I appreciate every time you watch one of our videos. I appreciate every time you interact with one of our videos. I try to be really quick to respond to questions or comments or whatever else. The best thing that you guys could do to help us right now is to subscribe to our channel. Our channel currently is at 132 subscribers, and we have an audacious goal this year for 2024 for our channel to have 100,000 subscribers. That's wild. It's like, that's dreaming bigger than I probably have. And even saying it out loud, I get those, like, that gut-wrenching feeling of failure already creeping in, and I'm just gonna squash it and just say, this is our year. I've claimed it. And even if we get half of that, that's more than I would have given myself credit for, or our channel credit for, even just a month ago. Because a month ago I started thinking about what do we want to accomplish in 2024, and while there's a ton of house projects, there's a ton of things that we want to continue as a family, or create as a family, or do as a family. The one thing that was on my list was, I want us to have 1,000 subscribers. And all of a sudden January came around, and I went to go put a reel out and on Instagram, and I didn't type 1,000, I typed 100,000. And I was like, well, it's in there now, so I guess I better do it. I know that we can get to that point. We just need to find the right people. And I'm hoping that you're our people. If you're not our people and you know someone who might be our people, I would love it if you would share our content. It potentially creates that conversation where I'm gonna reach somebody who is afraid to grow something. And by watching what we do, they will be encouraged and inspired to maybe try growing something. I would love for everybody to grow one food that they eat, that they like to eat, at least just once. If you love those gorgeous English breakfast tomatoes that are the slice of one tomato is the entire size of your bread for a BLT in the summer, oh my gosh, I can't wait for summer, then I want you to grow tomatoes. I want you to try growing something, even if it's just an herb. Make delicious caprese with some tomatoes and some mozzarella. So good. But I want you guys to do that. You don't have to have acreage. You don't have to have a farm. You don't have to even have a house. You can live in an apartment and container garden in your windowsill or near your window. You can grow inside if you need to. And you can grow lettuces that are just like cut and come again, and you can add that color and flavor to your food without feeling like you need to go buy 20 acres. That's really been a big push right now, as everybody's starting their hobby farms at 5 acres, 10 acres, 20 acres, 50 acres, 100 acres. And while that is one of our goals is to have a large amount of acreage, we know that we are not in a position to purchase that right now. So, we're taking the space that we're in and we're using it to grow and learn until we are in a position where we can add more land to what we want. That may be in 5 years, 10 years, who knows? As God has the plans. I'm just using this as a classroom for right now. And with that being said, I'm going to be putting out a little bit more content. Right now, my average content is like maybe 1 video a month. I would like to start putting out a video a week. I know that there's friends and family on here. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for all of the support that you give us. And for those who haven't become friends of our channel yet or subscribers of our channel yet, I hope you would consider it. And in that, I'm going to head out of here because this is the longest video I probably have put up on YouTube, but it's the first one of the year. So anyway, hold me accountable. I would love for it. All right, I'm out. I hope you guys have a good one. Thanks for following us on Eggs and Honey Homestead. See ya.